Inside the second layer VM, we run a simple program which shows the pin latency to two different cloud providers. So the layout is the same as the remote desktop window. So the left window shows the pin latency to Azure, and the right window shows the pin latency to Amazon. And as you can see, because currently it's running in Amazon, so the latency to Amazon is almost 0, while the latency to Azure is about 128. Okay, so now we have a VM running in Amazon EC2. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger a manual migration to migrate this VM from EC2 to Azure. So I'm going to use a traditional SL migrate command to migrate this VM to Azure. So now the migration is triggered, and as you can see, the VM is still running, so the migration is being performed in background. And after the migration is done, you should see that this window is going to be moved from right to the left, and also the pin latency of these two windows are going to be swapped. Okay, so as you can see, now the VM has been moved from EC2 to Azure. If you check out the latency window, you will see that now the latency to Azure is 0 and the latency to Amazon becomes 130. So now I'm going to start the VLC program, which will play a movie, and at the same time it will stream it through the network. So then it becomes a streaming server. And I'm going to also start the scheduler. So the scheduler is going to monitor the connections from all the clients to this VLC program, and it will decide the optimal placement of the second layer VM based on the average latency of all clients. So I'm going to start the first client in Amazon EC2. Then, because it's a single client in the whole network, the controller should automatically decide that it should move the second layer VM from Azure to EC2. So I just started a client, and as you can see, the client starts playing the same movie as the server, and the controller already detects that a new client connects, so it already triggered the migration. Okay, so as you can see, the controller automatically moved the VM from Azure to EC2, and the client is still playing the movie. It's no interrupt, so the TCP connection is not broken. So now I'm going to start two more clients in Azure, and because the scheduling policy of the controller is to minimize the average latency for all the clients, the controller is going to migrate the second layer VM back to Azure. I'm going to start the first client in Azure, and right now there are two clients in each side, so the controller hasn't triggered any migration yet, because no matter where you migrate it, the average latency is not going to be changed. However, if you start one more client in Azure, now you can see that the migration has already been triggered by the controller. Okay, so as you can see, the VM has been moved from Amazon EC2 to Azure automatically by the controller, and at the same time all the clients are still playing the movie without any interrupt.